start of your thing. Hey,
Hey,
hey.
hey. Okay. Mima is a member of a J-pop group named Cham and has decided to take the next step in her career and become an actress. But this leads to not just disappointed fans, but angry stalkers as well, particularly one that goes by the handle Me Mania. Her manager, Rumi, sets her up with a computer so she can access the internet for the first time, but she soon finds a website called Mima's Room with creepy, detailed accounts of her own private life. She then accepts a role on a TV detective drama called Double Bind, including lewd scenes that leave her mentally distressed and make her fans and management even angrier. Mima then seemingly starts disassociating and seeing a version of herself with her Cham outfit who keeps telling her that she is, quote, the real Mima. Interestingly, her character on the Double Bind is also dissociating, and it becomes hard to tell them apart. Soon, several people involved with making Double Bind end up violently murdered, and Mima's mental state worsens. Finally, Double Bind has wrapped, but as Mima is leaving the studio, Mimania attacks her. She barely gets away, but immediately afterwards, Mimania is himself murdered by someone who looks like Mima. Rumi then finds Mima and takes her to her home to recover, but Mima finds out that Rumi is not only behind the murders, but also has been appearing to her as the quote real Mima and has been obsessed with her the entire time. Rumi chases Mima through the streets trying to murder her, but Mima ends up getting the upper hand and stabbing her with a mirror shard. Rumi then tries to strike a pose in front of an oncoming truck, but Mima saves her life. Rumi is then confined to a mental hospital, and Mima is now certain that she is herself. I
Ooh-tee.
skipped a
Mhm.
lot of stuff there, but I had to.
I skipped so much. When I was doing the Spy Kids summary, I was like, oh my God, there's so much plot in this movie. And yeah.
Yeah.
It's not short on plot. We give it that.
There is a lot of something in this. Mhm.
Let's see. Yep. So what is it? This Saturday, Sunday is Mononoke. I'm just like thinking,
Saturday, my Saturday, your Sunday, right?
yes.
Okay.
And I guess we'll go if we can go to space your Monday night, I guess we'll do that.
Think that should be fine.
Okay. Just tell me if anything's amiss.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing for that. Wait. Oh, weird. Like sometimes the calendar skips. I don't know. Never mind. I
Hmm.
thought the date said something it didn't. Um, are you gonna want to do the two-parter Space 1999 episode as one episode?
We'll do it as one, I think, yeah.
I think that sounds like the best way to do it. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm sure there's not enough for two
I
episodes. How's
I
that?
kind of yeah, I think it's fine to do that. And yeah.
I have to make
Hello.
sure that I leave
Hello.
enough
Oh, that
time.
sounds like the correct
Hi.
mic. Yay.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
All right.
Hi, it's
Mm,
me. My name's Correct Mike. I mean,
He's
that would work
correct,
if my name
Mike.
was Mike.
I'm
Mm.
incorrect, Dave.
Hey.
Oh, I don't. I should tell you the number of this one.
Mm.
3 is the magic number.
Oh, we're on to three, are we?
Hmm?
I just making a joke. I said we're already to three, which is
Oh,
not
excuse me. It's 75.
all right.
Oh,
Hmm?
yeah, we're about to step over to the second page of our list.
Mm.
Yes, yes. Page 2. Is that page 2 or page 3? It's page 3.
No, on the
Oh, you mean like
Twitter,
complete?
it's like four.
Complete. Yeah, I see what
Oh,
you're saying. Oh, okay, okay.
next quadrant,
Yeah.
Yes.
the beta quadrant.
Mm. Mm.
Should speak for yourself. I'm in the alpha quadrant, mate. I'm in the sigma quadrant.
I'm the omega quadrant. I don't know what that means. It means you're super huge and angry all the time, I guess. If you're an omega male, what is that? Is your like last one?
This means you're a dead guy.
Yeah, it just means you're sad. You're just depressed, Will Smith.
In at number 75. It's time to see what time we can find time to do a podcast about.
Okay, an hour's
Oh,
passed. Podcast finished. Thanks for listening.
oh, you're not getting away that easily because time is money and you're not getting paid anything.
Okay. Anyway, this is Spy Kids All the Time in the World for today's film. I had to make that distinction because I was Spy Kids 4, right? And
Mm.
last night, so actually, well, let me introduce the podcast. It's Films and Filth, the Citizen Kane of podcasting. This is Matt here.
Hi, it's Mark.
Hello, it is Luke.
So you guys got my message yesterday where I was trying to be like, is this podcast tomorrow or tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Because I was having a mild fake panic attack about having to be up at 12:30, falling asleep and trying to finish Spy Kids 4. So I was like, maybe I got 2 weeks to do
Ooh.
it. So anyway, I do have the Blu-ray because I got it from the Blu-ray Apocalypse, but I download it anyway so I could speed up a little bit and not be up at 12:30 trying to stay awake while trying to watch Spy Kids All the Time in the World. And if you type Spy Kids 4, you don't find it. You have to type All the
I
Time in
did
the World.
type Spy Kids 4 and did get this film
You're
Oh,
as
on
okay.
bad
Amazon
as the
Prime.
timekeeper, Matt. You're
I
doing the
fa
same thing. You haven't
I
learned anything from
I
this
haven't
movie.
learned anything. I found something when I searched Spy Kids 4, but I found much better results when I typed in All the Time in the World. So I was like, okay,
Oh, right, yeah.
let's bestow that title upon this movie, you know?
So when you say
Just
download, you mean like a naughty website, whereas I just downloaded it from Amazon for 200 yen.
ooh, a
Yeah, you
naughty
got it off
website.
Pornhub.
Yeah, it's a backup copy. I have the real copy.
It's
But the
true.
real
When you
copy plays
have
at
a
normal
copy,
speed. Yeah.
yeah, when you have a physical copy, you can download it as many times as you want. You just can't
Hmm.
distribute it.
Mm. You can talk about it, though, which is what we're doing today with Spy Kids 4. So
Yes.
I will come straight out that yeah, I did prefer this to Shark Boy and Lava Girl simply because it did not make my eyes hurt. I'm
I
curious.
I
I'm
like watched this film pretty much in two goes and had a adequate time.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna give it to Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
So
I did not
my
like
what
this
I'm going
as
to come
much.
down on is in terms of like if we just count Shark Boy and Lava Girl as part of the Spy Kids, this is like more competently made than the other Spy Kids films, but has way less charm.
Yeah,
Like this
it
felt
wore
like a
on me.
really by the numbers sort of just film.
It
Like
was
the
it
effects look
sank.
like how films look. Everything was sort of in, went by the beat you expected to go by, but it didn't have that weirdness. This one
Yeah,
didn't feel like it was made by him listening to a kid, which is,
yeah,
as I
I'm
understand
sure
it,
it
how the others
wasn't.
were made.
And I don't think Racer has the credit on this one, but I did see there is a new Spy Kids movie. Of course, there is on Netflix, which his son is back writing on. Although his son's like he's got to be like 25 or something at least by now, right?
Yes.
So why does it
I
matter that
wonder.
his kid's still writing the Spy Kids
I mean,
movies?
I'm impressed that he still goes by the name Racer even as an adult. That's very cool of
I
him. He's
mean,
not like, no, my name is John. Don't call me Racer. It's
the
like,
legend that is Speed Racer went by the name Speed, surname
ah,
Racer. So
okay. Yeah.
He was too cool for Racer. He just took speed, lots of speed.
I mean, Speed Racer, but Speed Racer got his hands dirty. He's not really anything like the spies in this movie. Speed Racer would just bust into a room and machine gun a bunch of dudes.
oh hell yeah.
Not
This
these
is
guys.
but yeah, the
Speed
my
Racer, better
experience with
movie
this.
too, easily.
Oh yeah, Speed
Yes.
Racer.
Oh
Speed Racer
God.
is probably
Oh
going to be my
God.
birthday pick if this goes on long enough.
I'm saying that to
Yeah.
the listeners more than you, Luke. I know you love Speed Racer.
No, that should be on the good list, really. It's like if anyway.
Speed Racer is literally a film that was too ahead of its time to be on the good list. In 30 years, it will be.
I believe that too. But yeah, this movie I was enjoying it at first, and every little part of it kind of started wearing on me over time. And then
I
by
can
the end,
get
I
that.
was
I can get that.
yeah, like Ricky Gervais' dog. I was really
That
enjoying a
that was
lot at
what like.
first.
Oh really? Because I'm so over Ricky Gervais that as soon as he showed up, I
I
was like,
I
I see
think it
why
was
it's on
just
this list.
the contrast to the kids who were kind of not
No,
great.
yeah, it actually did work. It was fine. It's just as soon as I heard Ricky Gervais's voice,
Yeah,
I skin
yeah,
crawled a little bit.
I'm for sure over Ricky Gervais as a human being, but
Mhm.
like I was just like the dog, the material the dog was doing was had me at first, and then eventually I was
Yeah,
just
which I'm
like, ah,
sure
and
he
then
wasn't like ad-libbing. That was just generic
yeah,
children's movie
I
script
did have
shit.
to look
yeah,
up when he popped up. I was like, I know this voice, and I did, but I did have to look it up. I couldn't do it just by ear.
Oh, I immediately knew it was him. But yeah, and the high pitched TikTok, the high pitched Jeremy Piven. At first, I was very amused by it. But by the end, I was really sick of it.
I was convinced it was Matthew Lillard until the reveal.
Yeah, I thought so at first too. And well, I accidentally saw it looking at the IMDb page. It says right up front. I was like, whoops. Yeah. Also spoils the
I
twist.
straight up read the plot before I watched the movie just so I'd have something to hang my hat on. Didn't care about the spoilers.
Yeah.
I think there is like a little misdirect on one of the twists. Because there's the whole thing where like so what's weird is despite Spy Kids is not like that old a franchise, this is a legacy sequel.
I was gonna say, is this the first Legacy sequel? Is this before or after Tron Legacy, which I assume is why we call them Legacy sequels?
What?
I only assumed that this morning though, so I could be wrong.
I thought the term legacy sequel just meant it's not a reboot.
Right, but then I thought that maybe that's because Tron Legacy was like the first biggie, at least of the modern era of that. And this is
I don't think that is why we call it that, but yeah, Tron Legacy definitely is one.
because I was like, that's the first, and this is kind of the second, I guess. Oh, the Muppets, I guess, is somewhere around this time as well.
The Muppets has sort of been doing it for a long time, though, right? And it doesn't bring back any human cast.
Yeah, the first time. I mean, the Muppet movies don't have anything to do with each other, but it was kind of like, oh, we have a new creative team. Things are a little different now with the, with the.
But I feel like bringing back old actors is a big part of like the legacy sequel shtick.
Right. So this definitely dies.
I guess because they're kids, doesn't take long for them to be like the old guard because they just have to now be adults.
Right. Kingsman takes a few more years.
But then they did that thing where the brother's missing and it's like, oh, don't speak of it. And then you're like, you're clearly meant to think he's the villain. And then it's just like, no, he quit, but now he's back.
He's just like, here I am. Yeah. He just shows up in the room all of a sudden.
and like for sure I had to look up that those were the original actors because they aged that awkward period like the Stranger Things gap where they look like somebody else now. I was like, right. Oh, is that the same brother? Yeah, it is. Weird.
So despite buying all 4 of the Spy Kids movies at the Blu-ray apocalypse, I haven't watched the first one since I think I saw it in the theater once and maybe watched it once on home media, like when it was a new release. 2, I don't know if I've ever watched 2. Maybe I watched it. 3, definitely not. And this is the first time with all the time in the world.
1 and 2, I definitely watched back in the day because I think me and my brother caught them in the theaters. But I've not like gone back to them since. I think they've been on the TV and I've been in the room.
The first one's weird because I think one of the reasons it's successful is because Rodriguez had basically gotten himself to like auteur level, maybe just trailing Tarantino. So everyone's like, well, I guess we're going to go see Spy Kids then, which then he spent 10 years making this his career for some reason. Now it's kind of like gone back to the old track of movies, which is bizarre. I guess we got into that a little bit with Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but that's such a weird career trajectory. It's kind of like he just got obsessed with this weird niche, despite being a guy who could probably handle more like, proper movies.
Well, I think it's just that he had kids and he was making films that his kids could not watch.
Yeah, I guess
understandably, you make. Thought, oh well, like the whole plot of this film. He's like, well, my kids are kids. I'm going to take this time to enjoy it. I mean, I can go back to making murder fests afterwards.
Yeah, like Raul Julia being M. Bison for his kids. It's the same thing, except okay.
M. Bison rip your head off.
M. Bison is. God, I wish Raul
fly
Julia
around to computers in the sky.
I've only seen the third Spy Kids movie because it was in 3D and it was like Ricardo Montalban opposite Sylvester Stallone. And I was like, whoa, that sounds great. And
wait, what?
Is that the one where Elijah Woods shows up as well?
I think so, yeah.
Or whatever, and then he like instantly gets wrecked.
Well, I only saw it the one time, but yeah, I believe so.
Right, this one just doesn't have that kind of like randomly big stars showing up.
Joel McHale,
really bizarre stuff.
See, Joel McHale was the only thing that didn't annoy me towards the end, but he wasn't in it that much.
Well, I'm just saying he's the star power in this, and I mean, he's all well and good, but he's
Jessica Alba was a big star back in the day. She's retired, but
I'm checking now to see if this is kind of the end of her thing. After this,
really late career, I think.
Yeah, Machete Kills, which is weirdly connected
Right.
to the Spy Kids
Same
world.
universe. Machete's in this film.
Did you see him for a second in here?
Yeah.
And then she did Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. And okay, she actually was in a TV show in 2019, 2020. But yeah, this is mostly the end of the road for her as far as acting, because she's into business stuff, right?
Also, she did what this film suggests, and she retired and spent time with her kids.
Yeah.
So, fair play to her.
I'd like to think that she took her kid and just like went and robbed a bank while her kid was strapped to her. Or,
She
like,
didn't
did
think
all kinds
about
of
it until she made this film.
ridiculous stuff. But it's okay because the kid can like throw guys. I don't know.
Mm.
So one thing
Sure.
that this movie does have way too much of, weirdly, is plot. So I will try and do that. I tried to condense it. I don't even mention the father barely. So or Spy Hunter, the TV show. That's not in here. So here we go. Tried to condense. OSS agent Marissa Wilson retires after apprehending the criminal TikTok and having a baby, all at the same time. A year later, she settled into home life with her new husband, baby, and twin stepchildren. Seems the girl, Rebecca, doesn't like her very much. New mom tries to make friends by giving her a necklace, which turns out to be the movie's MacGuffin. Marissa is called back to OSS as a supervillain named the Timekeeper is speeding up time. Soon everyone will run out of time. The twins are chased by time goons looking for the MacGuffin, while Marissa goes back to spy work with her baby in tow. Eventually, the twins make it to OSS headquarters, reunite with Mom, along with the now grown original Spy Kids. They eventually work out that the Timekeeper is actually the head of the OSS, Danger Diabo. He had been frozen in time in the
Danger de
1930s.
Amos.
Did I write it wrong? Oh, yeah, I didn't do the spelling thing.
There was a whole anagram thing.
No, I know that.
And you would have been like Armageddon.
Cool.
That's actually a better name.
Armageddon.
Anyway, this dude, whose name I did not write again, had been frozen in time in the 1930s and just wants to travel back in time to see his father, whom he watched die while frozen. Everything is action resolved in a CGI eye melter. Danger is defeated, and the Spy Kids program is reinstated with the twins as the first recruit, and you, the viewer, as the next recruit. I bet you didn't know you were going to be a Spy Kid by the end of this movie when you started it.
Of course I did.
Oh, okay.
No,
Well, you
I'm
did.
Clearly-
33.
Clearly telegraphed.
Well, you're a 33-year-old Spy Kid now. Hey, we're Spy Kids
It
in our
also-
mid-40s.
It wasn't
Yeah.
really action resolved. The goodies kind of lost, but he talked the baddie into like doing the right thing.
Well, they were spinning around on floating,
Yeah.
gears and
I mean,
stuff.
Green screen, Spy Kids gibberish.
They are like a lot closer to the heat death of the universe now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
When
They
do we run
lost.
out of time? How much time did they lose? Like 5 years, 100 years? What time is at the end of this movie?
I don't understand how anything works. I don't
It doesn't.
understand how
It
time
really
works
doesn't.
anymore.
You want
It's
to
like-
put Neil deGrasse Tyson on this movie?
Yeah,
the only
but like
thing-
specifically just to torture Neil deGrasse Tyson.
yes. No, the only thing that's more meaningless than the word time in this movie is the word spy. Like, what
Oh,
is
yeah.
a spy? Who are they spying on? They're not spying, they just show up and hit people.
Yeah, I think spy is just like a designation in this. It's not really
It's like someone watched a James Bond movie, but they only watched the part where he gets all the gadgets and then turned it off. It's like, that's what spies are.
well, that's kind of what I did when I was a kid.
I mean, it's
That's
I
not
know,
true.
this
I
is
did watch the
nitpicking.
Bond
I'm
movies,
just
but
like,
that
what-
was probably my favorite part as a kid. Sure.
the whole
Maybe
point
now.
of the spy genre. Well, I'm sure it predates the Cold War, but the Cold War is like what we generally associate with spy,
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah, spies should be spying. There should be some espionage.
Yes. But it's like these kids kind of can't because they don't really know that they're spy kids until their stuff just starts working. And
Mhm.
also everyone gets I said decapitated.
There's super soldiers, but they
Incapacitated.
can't call them super soldiers because this is the fourth Spy Kids movie.
I
You
mean,
can't
it's
change
not-
it 4 movies.
They
in.
don't do much spying in the other three either.
True.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, if they made a film about actual spy kids, it would just be like, children propagandized into turning their parents in Soviet Russia, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's what a real life spy kid is.
Like Boba Fett is the bounty hunter in the first couple of Star Wars movies, right? Like it seems like every time they bring him back as something, it's like, oh, he's a bunch of clones, or he's the mayor of a town or something, or he's like legendary. I don't know.
I
It's like
quit watching these shows, so everything you're talking
we
about,
can't
I've heard like in like third person, right?
we
Like
can't just
third
we
hand
can't
knowledge.
just give someone a position and have them fulfill it if the position is kind of, you know, morally questionable. We have to turn them into heroes. Like the second Borderlands game was so annoying because everyone kept calling you a hero, and I'm just like, this game is about money. The only thing the first Borderlands game was about was you get a bunch of money and you get guns and you sell the guns for more money. It's like, you know, just let me be a bad money, like a gun hawker or whatever, a
Well,
gun
it's like
collector.
so Samus Aran is a bounty hunter,
Uh-huh.
and when Retro were making their like Metroid Prime games, they apparently went to Nintendo once. We're like, oh, we've got this concept where like she'll go and you collect different bounties on each level or whatever. And Nintendo of Japan were just like, you know, we don't really want that. We just use bounty hunter because it's a cool word. Like, we didn't really know what it meant when we said that. She's really just like the superhero.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that there are a couple of side games that I haven't played where she deals with a bunch of like rival bounty hunters, but they're all just shooting each other, and it's and there's no like they should just do it. Just make a Metroid game where I just hunt bounties.
Nah,
I don't
because a
know.
Metroid game should never have other speaking characters in it.
Yeah, you're right. And that's I think a lot of those games I'm talking about do that.
Yeah.
You just like upgrade. You get your upgrades by cashing in like Ridley severed head. Yeah, that'd be fun. But
Hey, are you guys aware that the Spy Kids movie was presented in Aromascope?
yes.
Oh, that makes sense.
I have a list here. It's a Vulture. It's a Vulture article where it has what it was supposed to smell like for each scratch and what it actually smelled like. I can go through those pretty quickly if you want.
All right,
Please do.
There's 8, so you got a scratch and sniff card with 8 pictures, and it would flash it in the movie theater. The first one's supposed to smell like bacon. Uh, the journalist says it doesn't smell like anything. Second one, blue cheese. Smelled like the
right,
first
yeah.
one for real. That's
Mm.
yeah. Then we get candy, it's a little chocolatey smelling apparently. Another candy, 3 and 4 and 5, they're all candy. They did candy for 3 cars, but they're different kinds of candy. Um,
Sure.
one's kind of blueberry, one's kind of cinnamon, one's kind of chocolate. Okay. Number 6 is baby poop, which
Yep.
still smells like chocolate, which is a little disturbing in its own way.
Yeah, well, better than actually smelling like poop, I suppose.
7, well, that's 7. 7 is dog farts, which what it actually smelled like. The journalist says vomit. Really, it just smells bad. The raw materials are terrible. Number
Oh, yeah.
8, supposed to smell like boogers, actually smelled like something, but has nothing to do with anything. So vomit that smells like chocolate, candy that smells like blueberry muffins, and bacon that smells like nothing. That's who wrote this? Willa
I
Paskin.
have
Okay, we'll give a credit where credit is due there.
I can say this. I've seen the John Waters masterpiece Polyester in Odorama twice, and most of those didn't smell like they were supposed to. And the big problem with that process is that you have a card that's only so big. So basically you're gonna smell the other circles when you go down to smell the newer
Yeah,
circles. So
true.
it all kind of, and most of it just kind of smelled like pizza. So it just didn't really work.
Yeah, one of the Rugrats movies I think I saw and had a scratch and sniff thing.
Yeah, you need like a different card for each scene, which would
But
probably just cost them too much to print.
oh yeah, they need to actually like pump the smells in
Yeah,
through like a
that's
gas
the
system.
ideal.
But
Pump the farts in. There were so many
They
fart
did that
jokes
in
in a
Shrek
row.
4D. The Shrek 4D that they used to have at Universal. Shrek would fart and they'd spray you with some fart smell.
I fe-
Speaking of which, Luke, how'd you feel about the Soren smells? I guess that's the more technologically advanced version of doing this.
I could barely remember them, so they obviously didn't hit me that hard.
Mm.
till
Yeah,
you said till you said that, I wouldn't have remembered that they tried to do a smell thing.
okay. Yeah, because sometimes you have to think about your top 4
So
theme park
what Matt
smells.
said there, folks, was soaring, referring to the
Soaring, not Soren. Sorry.
not like Adam. Not like Adam Sorkin, like the version of the West Wing where you can smell the mahogany.
It says the Disney
I would like it.
attraction. They added the G in Japan though. It is soaring, whereas
Huh.
the other ones are
Oh,
soaring.
okay. Well, that's why you did that. I see.
Yeah, that's why I did that. Because that. But yeah. Actually, they did add the G because they wanted to be real G's in Japan, I guess, or maybe it was just too confusing for people who kind
Yeah.
of know a little bit of English.
No abbreviations.
No abbreviations. That's right. So,
No
yeah.
mercy.
But
Sorry,
yeah, Mercy's not there. You're right.
no abbreviations. No mercy. She actually was there when we went on soaring, so
Oh, okay, never mind.
But
it was
not on your
Matt's birthday
podcast.
party. Me, him, and Mercy.
Sounds delightful.
It was a
And
great day.
It was jolly. How about the child endangerment levels in this movie? I did think that felt weird. Like
that was
The
weird.
the
I mean, it's
kid,
kind of. I mean, it's
the
played for
kids
comedy, I
doing
guess.
Spy Kids things, sure. That her having her baby strapped to her while she slaughters men. Um,
Like
Yeah,
kung fu style.
for
I mean, she's
for her
kickboxing
pregnant.
them.
Yeah, like want to talk about like the realism, whatever the immersion being broken is her like fighting people while she's pregnant, and they're saying like they're not hitting her. So I'm like, well, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Well,
Maybe.
during the one where it's the scene where she's pregnant, I'm just like watching this is making me kind of uncomfortable, to be honest. You know,
Yes.
like she should
I mean,
not be doing that under any circumstances. They have other agents, or maybe they don't.
well, it seems like they have a building full of useless twerps and like 3 competent people.
Well, I guess
yeah,
that's
and
how.
18 Jeremy Piven clones.
Right.
Yeah.
You can never have enough Piven, right?
I kind of hate Jeremy Piven,
I
honestly.
don't
When
know
I
if I've
did
ever seen him in anything but this. What else has he done?
I'm gonna call him Sam ambivalent
PCU,
to Piven, I
there's
think.
just like a gut feeling where I just don't like him.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Now I
I
am sitting here wondering what it would like, he's definitely like a face, so or I
I do
know.
not.
You did not. That's fine. But he's in Entourage, but I didn't watch that. He was
No,
on
that
the
always seems annoying.
sitcom Ellen, which I actually did see a bit of in the 90s, but not haven't
Hell
seen it
no.
since.
I remember it not being great.
He's oh here this is my main thing. He's in the Seinfeld episodes where they are making the Seinfeld show, he plays the on-screen George. Like they have to get actors to play everyone except for Seinfeld himself. So there's a fake
He
Kramer and a fake George and a fake Elaine. He's the fake George.
he's in the Guy Ritchie film Rock and Rolla.
Oh,
Haven't
I
seen
have
that.
seen that.
Well, you've seen that. Okay, you've seen you some Piven then.
I guess so.
Right. I haven't seen this one, so I don't know.
I saw it like 15 years ago. I can tell you nothing about it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's an old school. I
Yeah.
remember him being an old school. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
really
I've
interesting
seen,
for the listener.
but he doesn't have that like main hook thing where like yeah, everyone knows him from this thing. So okay.
I guess he can do a few different voices.
He's not. Yeah, he's fine. He carries the movie well enough.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's fine here in this like kids movie role where he can go from nice to chewing scenery. That's like all he has to do.
I'm just starting
And
to bounce.
I was kind of finding it believable that like what he's doing is insane and terrible, but like I could believe that in his head he was doing it for the right motivations, right?
Well,
That's
why he's
sort
the
of the
best villain,
thing.
right?
The good thing
They
about
actually
this
did that pretty
movie,
well.
yeah, it's kind of a good like sci-fi plot, or maybe a good Batman plot on some level.
Yeah, there's some Batman villain energy for
Oh, those
sure.
masks are that's like as 2011 60s Batman villain as you can get. Sorry that's a too convoluted a metaphor, but
No, I mean, if you're going to give me like a kind of a silly concept, then it's great to stack a villain in there that has actual motivation and sort of, I don't know, what he's doing makes sense on some level, even though none of the time mechanisms make any sense,
and then
physically.
that was a digital set that was so trippy and pointless and weird. I like gave it like a little bit of benefit because going into these films the first time I'm like, oh my god, how much, you know. I mean, I've gotten tired of the volume in modern productions. I could stand to stop seeing volume stuff anytime now.
Yeah. I mean, just just things, little things like Rodriguez gets credit for this, but having the choice to have him just wearing a clock on his face as a mask is weird as hell. Like,
Yeah.
it's like that is super weird.
That's up in the game on Flavor Flav there, isn't it?
I guess so. You think Flavor Flav watched this was like, damn it.
Damn, yeah, he's got a clock face. I'm behind. Okay.
Just like called Jeremy Piven. What's
I'm
up,
just
man?
kind of like bopping down my notes a little bit about this point at this point, and I did want to bring up this is like the most pointless panic room ever. It lasts for what 3 seconds. I do like how there's a ball pit when you enter it, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that was a conscious thought. And then yeah, it's just like yeah, that panic room is easily penetrable. I guess it was just for like regular thugs, not for time bandits.
Yeah, they did have like weird ass gravity guns.
That was, yeah, those were cool looking.
So Alba
But
should
it's
be
just like,
ready. Marissa, whatever. I can call her a character name, I guess.
it's just like the whole the all of the all of the institutional like mechanics of the house just existed to like indoctrinate the kids into Spy Kids. Like it was
Yeah.
always the plan. It feels like, yes, of course. First you go through the panic room, and then you go through the flying puke gravity thing.
And you
with
scratch
The
down
Bella.
your
panic
card and
room
smell it.
was the moment where I realized I kind of liked the boy in this. When he's like, "Oh, this is a panic room because it's a room and I'm panicked."
Yeah.
And like, I really love the dynamic of the sister was doing like the typical movie. I don't like her stepmom sort of drama, and the boy
Yeah.
was just like, "She's fine. Everything's fine." Like, it's
Yeah.
really nice to just have a character in a film when there's that sort of bullshit drama. Just have another character who's just like kind of chill about everything.
Yeah, and also making him hearing impaired just for no
And
particular
not
reason is
overdoing
like,
it. Yeah, that was
I
yeah.
guess that's kind of the Mac and me thing.
I think this does it better than Mac and
well,
Me
yeah,
did.
it does. I
To
mean,
give it some
most
credit.
movies do things better than Mac and me.
I don't think I enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed watching Mac and Me,
Well,
but
it
in
didn't have a
different way.
different
breakdancing
kind of
scene at a
enjoyment.
McDonald's.
Different bad. This should be a different bad list
Mm.
somehow. Like the 80s bad movies are just completely different than the 2000s bad movies.
I guess if you really need to just distill Mac and me into 3 minutes, you can go watch the Wendy's hot drinks video if you've seen that. You guys know what I'm talking about? Hot
What,
drinks.
does Wendy's have hot Frosties now?
Oh, okay. I'll everyone look this up on YouTube. It's Wendy's hot drinks. It's a song from a instructional film for the staff in the 80s, and it's like the most ridiculous song ever. It's great.
Okay.
It sounds
It
like
is better than this
Matt's
movie.
kind of thing.
It is my kind of
It's
thing,
like
yes.
like an oral hygiene outtake.
Yeah, it's the kind of song you'd have played at your wedding or something, you know?
Cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That tracks.
I'll be sending you to some hot drinks soon.
Yeah.
All the instructions are sung in the song, but they're sung like very earnestly and like soulfully, so it's fun.
So is the plot of this movie kind of also the plot of Loki? Did like Loki take this? I feel like this was the plot of Loki, and I can't remember.
Loki's the and now that I finished stopped watching pretty much every Star Wars and Marvel show, Loki's the one that I'm like, maybe I should go watch it, but I have not.
I kind of
I
feel
thought
like
you
I
watched
need to
it.
before Deadpool. No, WandaVision's the one Mac watched.
Yeah, I watched
Um,
WandaVision.
I have
Loki is
watched zero
okay.
Marvel shows.
And weirdly I watched What If.
Loki is okay. A lot of the second season of Loki is him expositioning to characters who now don't. It's a little mild spoilers, but he does has to do a lot of expositioning to characters who don't know him because he's outside of the timeline. So that gets really kind of drags on for a while. But Ki Hui Kwan from Everything Everywhere All at Once and short round is in it. He's
That's
fun.
fun. Anyway, I probably have to
Also,
watch
doesn't it
Andor
all
before I watch
build to
Loki.
the villain that they now have had to drop?
Yeah, that's the worst thing about that show is that he plays a version of himself that has a speech impediment. So you just have to hear him go like, I don't 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 think that. So it's like the entire time that's what his
I mean, they
character is.
can recast.
Terrible.
They've done it before.
They should have edited that
Yeah,
and
but they
make
had
all of
him
his
play,
speech
like-
impediment shorter.
They had him play like a whole universe of him. It would be really weird to recast at this point.
Yeah, but
I think
nobody
he's
saw
out, man. I
Quantumania,
think he's
so
done.
I
I
never
think
saw
he's done.
Quantumania, so I won't be bothered.
Also, I'm not that
Right.
interested in Kang, so I'm kind of glad if they just ditch doing Kang.
Well, me too. The big problem is they end that movie with a scene that's like the Council of Kangs, but like we got the Council of Ricks in Rick and Morty 10 years ago, which is a parody of that. So I'm seeing that I'm like, oh, that's where this comes from. But like the Council of Ricks is used a lot and it's very funny and
Yeah, I think they've also done
movie.
like a Council of Reeds in Marvel as well.
You're right. I think that might actually that might predate the Council of Kangs, or it might be after. I don't know, but
Hmm.
that's yeah. Once you've seen the animated version of it, where they're constantly like shooting each other and stuff, then it's hard to go back to taking it seriously.
Yep.
But the funny thing is, Rick and Morty writers wrote Quantumania, so it's just
Huh.
I
Well,
don't
they're
know, man.
plagiarizing themselves. Okay, that's fine. Which was making fun of something else, which I guess satire is another is could arguably called another form of plagiarism if you're being on
Yeah, it's the
Thanks.
if
multiverse
you're in a bad
disappearing up
mood.
its own multiple rectums.
Right.
Hmm.
No, I'm firmly back on. Hey, like with this podcast, one movie at a time, man. That's all I feel like doing these days.
Yeah,
Yep.
or just watch Rick and Morty. It's still good. I mean,
Um,
don't cancel me for saying that, please. I've never screamed at anyone for Szechuan sauce.
as an ardent Trekkie, I just kind of changed rails on the lower decks. Although now lower decks is ending, so maybe I'll have to go back to Rick and Morty then.
It's I think of pretty close quality. So anyway, uh numbers. Spy Kids 1 5.6, 2 5.3, 3 was 4.4, this is 3.5. The reboot, the complete reboot from this last year, no returning actors at all, 4.3.
Oh,
So
I thought I saw that one higher. Okay, whatever. Anyway, they're all higher in this one,
it
which
might have gotten lower since you looked at it.
I've
This
got a
is from
feeling
yesterday.
this one being on the list is very specifically the kids who grew up watching the first three
Mm-hmm.
watched this one and they did that classic thing of, oh, this isn't as good as it used to be, not realizing that no, you're just not 10 anymore.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
This doesn't have as much gloopy, weird comic book stuff as the first three, which is probably trying to adjust for that, right? Even when it does
Yeah.
get weird and digitally, it's a different kind. It's not for me.
It's
It
closer to looking real, yeah.
yeah, like and for me, yeah, I was like, oh God, this having Shark Boy and Lava Girl be the most recent watch. I'm like, yes, this looks better. I mean, the all the CGI is not driving me insane in this one as much. At the end, it definitely got gloopy, but they were using an impossible set, so that always brings in a little bit of that.
Mm.
Oh, I guess Labyrinth does it without having too much CG, doesn't it? Except for the bird.
Yeah. But also Antonio Banderas is not back. What Carla Gugino? I always say her name wrong.
Yeah. Anyway,
Gugino,
in 2011,
not
just getting the
back.
kids back is probably enough.
Well, I mean, if you really liked the adults, then you're probably mad, right?
I
Or at
I
least a little mad.
I mean, I think I assume kids watching Spy Kids like the Spy Kids, but
What
And
if it's
also,
just their
like,
parents voting it down?
part of the point was like a new generation of kids. So having like the old generation and their old generation would have been
Yeah.
overkill.
Yeah, and Jessica Alba is one of their sisters. I don't think it said which one is her aunt.
yeah,
The,
they say
the
something about it,
other
and
spy kid.
I kind of I guess didn't. I was like, whatever. She's
Yeah,
Yeah,
related. I
she
don't
was
know.
the aunt of, so I guess she's the sister either of Banderas or whoever the mum was in the old ones.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm looking at a list of
yep.
all the Spy Kids movies. Actually, Racer Max only has a screenwriting credit on the new one. So it was
Yeah,
Shark Boy,
he
Lava
was.
Girl, and the new one.
Yeah, Shark Boy Lava Girl was between 3 and 4, so that kind of tracks. I think he was
Yeah, he was
very very
super
young.
young in the first few. Like, I'm sure he had input, but like not enough to get writer's credit.
I think when I
Probably
was
too
younger,
young
I
to join the
assumed.
union.
I think when I was younger, I assumed the kids were Robert Rodriguez kids in the first Spy Kids.
Yeah, I mean, I probably did as well.
Nepo babies.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's not. Who's the terrible game director?
Terrible game director.
Heavy Rain guy.
Oh God, I was about to say Quantic Dream. What was his name?
Yeah,
David
yeah,
something.
David.
Yeah, that's so funny that I immediately that the same game you said popped into my head right when you
Yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah. Okay, where he cast his French children to play American children.
uh, you know what? Like this is David Cage.
That's it. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I don't want to play those games, but I do love watching the whatever press X to Jason video and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, there's
That's
I'll send
peak
you a link
comedy.
later. James, who's been on our podcast a little bit, he did he did a playthrough of Heavy Rain, and there's a bit where you have to unlock a door that he
Uh-huh.
got like stuck on for like 15 minutes.
I thought you were gonna say
And
like 5 weeks.
it's one of the best clips you'll ever see. Like at one
Awesome.
point he starts calling his wife to come in and do it for
Damn, we should link to that in the show notes.
him. Yeah, maybe we will.
That and
Hell
hot
yeah.
dogs.
Also,
He did Star Trek 5 back when we were Matt and Luke Sci-Fi Sanctuary.
saw a
And
YouTube video just today where it has a laugh track and it's not very well done, unfortunately.
huh.
I'm gonna add a laugh track to it, but they like hammered it way too hard. And anyway,
How did you feel about the weird like color 1936 color footage? I thought that kind of effect was kind of fun.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
was
worked.
good.
I'm just trying to talk some nice stuff here because
No,
after that I'm just like,
the thing about sometimes his movies look cheap because they are kind of cheaply made, but like he understands how things should look. It's just he doesn't necessarily give a shit if the shark looks like a 5 polygons, you know? Like and I was noting that I didn't really realize it until this one, but I know it was happening in Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Like a lot of times when adults show up in this movie, they're like standing in this like kind of pose and their hair is blowing like they obviously it's just a fan directly on their hair and he just
Hmm.
keeps doing that and that's like kind of endearing.
Especially yeah, when the boy original Spy Kid shows up,
Uh-huh.
he gets
Yeah.
big. I'm cool and I have a wind machine energy.
It's just I don't know, it's endearingly like earnest, I guess is the way to put it. A lot of people wouldn't do that. Like I feel like
Mhm.
Edgar Wright at least used to do that. I don't know if he does it as much anymore, but some stuff like that.
Last film of his I saw was Last Night in Soho, and that's not that kind of
Yeah,
tone.
that was kind of flat. Yeah. I just always think about
I
Scott
liked it, but
Pilgrim,
it wasn't his
like,
best.
yeah, regardless of how weird Scott Pilgrim is, like how problematic it is in hindsight, when you actually watch it, there's so much of it that's staged like suddenly you're watching a stage play, like weird lights go out in certain places and things lower into place.
Mm.
And I love that stuff. I wish more people would do that. But
Yes, a lot of
physical.
films. I mean, I guess I just watch mainstream films and then complain about them. But it feels like there's a lack of sort of directorial, just artistic filmmaking. But that's yeah, because I'm watching the churned out by the machine films instead of watching the good stuff. So fuck me.
I guess that
Oh,
the one thing Rodriguez has is it's got the feeling of not being so machiney. Like it's even when it's like kind of raw
Yeah, yeah,
and
that's
funky.
what we're
Yeah,
saying. You know,
yeah.
he makes films that you can tell it. This one I think gets closer to feeling machiney.
Well, it's got that
yeah.
time
Well,
clockwork stuff at the end.
Well, yeah, the first couple were like the just weird ass designs that look like a children's sketches brought to life. A decent little mix of some like
I guess if
practical
he's
effects
trying to
and
pitch it to his
CG.
kids, though, like he's trying to pitch it to his kids at in 2011 now, where the originals were he was pitching to his kids at
well,
whatever age they were,
I
10
wonder
years
if he
earlier.
was even still aiming for his own kids by this one.
there is a weird
Maybe this one
backstory.
lacks a bit of. Oh, go on, because I am interested how
Oh,
this one got made.
apparently the main villain of this podcast, Harvey Weinstein, blamed Rodriguez for the failure of the Grindhouse, whatever you would call that
Thingy,
compilation,
yeah.
the
Yeah,
Grindhouse thing.
double feature.
And so basically Rodriguez wanted Spy Kids 3 to be the last Spy Kids movie, but he owed Weinstein one more and he was just like, fine, I'll just do another Spy Kids. And I don't think his heart was really in it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so he's
that makes
making it for
sense.
Harvey Weinstein, not for
One
his children.
one for me, one for you type thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just the one for you. I mean, that said, it didn't feel like his heart wasn't
No,
completely wasn't in it, but
I don't think
yeah.
he's someone who could just churn out a terrible film, right? He's not that person.
Well, just not at least not a what do you call it? Um he doesn't phone it in. That's what I
Yeah.
was looking
Yeah,
for.
he can make a bit film that's bad, but in like a not in a by the
Yeah, because
numbers
this is
way.
bookended by
Yeah.
the Machete films, right? Because he made
Hmm.
Machete before
Yeah.
this and the sequel after. So
Yeah, and most importantly, it's just these are edited clearly and I understood what was happening even when what was happening was insane,
Yeah.
which I cannot say for a lot of Marvel films. A lot of those are edited, especially like later X-Men films are sometimes edited just like people just disappear and stuff.
Mm.
Like, oh, I
well,
guess
they're
you
X-Men. They can do that.
yeah, that's their power is
They're
to
all the
remove the cut.
Vanisher. All of them are the Vanisher.
Yes. They remove the cut that explains what just happened. Well, I mean, Matrix Resurrections did that a couple of times too, but you know, that
How
that was
much
another that was another type of one for you, one for me movie.
is it a different enough thing, or did The Incredibles just kind of steal the thunder of this franchise?
No, it's pretty different.
I yeah, I don't
In
feel
fact,
like that was
so
the
last
thing
night
at
I
all.
finished watching this film on the train, and then I was walking home on the phone to Mercy, and she was like, "Well, did you like it more than Wally?" And I was like, "Honestly, yeah." And it just got me thinking, like, once again, how much I hate the premise of this podcast, and I hate the concept of the public rating things on average. And honestly, it made me think we should just go back to monarchy. The
Well,
public can't choose. They should just let their betters rule them.
I believe my country is doing something
It's
along
pretty
those lines,
similar,
but in
yeah.
a
Yeah.
very bad
You
way.
can choose between two
Well,
geriatrics.
in Luke's
Well,
version, we
it's
would
more
be
like
the
you
geriatric would be
guys
Scorsese as king, right? Where and
sure.
he will tell you not to watch Marvel movies anymore.
I was gonna say you guys probably aren't getting the news about the Supreme Court, but that is
I got that news.
much more troubling than the disturbed old man.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
it
The
was
Supreme Court is kind of
deliberately
like
timed.
position for life, right?
It is they're doing things deliberately when everyone is side like distracted by the just old
In
man.
Minecraft, it would actually be really good if someone went into the Supreme Court and gunned them all down.
Yeah, you're right.
That would be a really good Minecraft level for someone to create and play, I think.
You're right. That would be great. I think it would be very popular.
Mm.
But and you guys still haven't seen Alita Battle Angel, right?
No, actually, I haven't. Yeah,
No.
that's also, I was surprised to be reminded that was Rodriguez.
Yeah, that's it is 7.3 now, and I think again, I think that's I think my favorite movie that he's made that I've seen, and maybe we'll get a sequel sometime. But that is Sin City's an 8. I think it's the closest he comes to good list. He has a lot of 4, 5, 6 area
Yeah, he's
stuff.
such a weird. He has such a weird, filmography, which does make him very
Mhm.
fascinating. Like, I think about the time of Spy Kids 3, it was extremely annoying, but now in
Yeah.
2024, you can kind of like appreciate the whole run better because it's like, well,
Mm.
you did get some of the stuff that you kind of wanted, and you got all this weird stuff that maybe doesn't work, maybe it does work, or maybe it's just a weird mismatch of things working and not working, which is this film
What
and the
I think honestly, and I don't know if there's anything scientific to this, but Matt, you and I are the right age to be obsessed with Robert Rodriguez, and he was making movies for kids when he was having kids, but too early for us to have
a
kids.
little early
So
for us, and that I think for
it
since
might
we
have
were
hurt
like
him a lot.
18, 20 or something at the time, I think that like
Yeah.
because we saw Spy Kids and we are like that was fine, and it's like Spy Kids 2, Spy Kids 2, we're like, dude, I want to see like
Yeah.
some gun violence, I'm 22 years old and I want to see a man bleed out on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, and people are probably having kids later than like I'm
I
in my
guess he did
40s.
make
Most of
Once
my
Upon a Time
friends.
in Mexico between Spy Kids, though, didn't he? So I mean, it just
Yeah,
seemed like I was an angry young man, and he was making dumb kids films.
just imagine you outside the theater like Spy Kids. You know, it's funny because I rewatched From Dusk Till Dawn recently and didn't like it. I don't like it anymore.
Oh, I'll have to check that out because yeah, I remember liking it, but it's been a while.
I find George Clooney's character insufferable in that movie now.
Isn't Tarantino insufferable in that movie?
You can
I
suffer
mean,
anything.
he's literally a predator, like a horrible
Yeah,
sex fiend in that.
yeah. It has been a while since I watched it. Um, so
And
I
then
don't know.
there's all
That's the
the,
thing,
you
though.
know,
So we do the films and filth, and then I'm like, this movie's not that bad. I'll call it a film. I'm like, you know what though? When I take Robert Rodriguez's filmography, actually, this is on the filth end. You know, like this is not his movie for me at all.
No,
yeah, and,
this is one of those films I'm gonna have to just say like this is content.
Yeah, because he
yeah.
did make
There's
movies for
not
me.
there's not enough heart in this for it to be a film or filth.
Mm,
Like
Yeah, and
he wasn't
well,
doing anything batshit insane to make it good or bad. He's just like, oh yeah, by the numbers,
and,
celebrity voicing the dog,
and of
CGI
course
airplanes, very nice,
there, you know,
well
there's the
done.
kids movie defense, which I mean, of course you can go to that, but also Pixar was doing a ton of stuff around this time, and there's also lots of classic movies that I would show to kids over this. And I mean,
Yeah, we've covered kids' films in this podcast, and like some of them are good.
yeah,
I've never been a big fan of that defense.
actually, recently he's very much back into a making the legacy kiddie sequels. Well, he's doing
mhm.
one for you, one for me. Okay, he wrote a science fiction horror film, Red 11, with Racer Max. So at least he's not just making Racer Max right crap.
That's
Unless
a
that's a bad movie.
5.0.
Okay.
The
How about
IMDb is
Hypnotic with Ben
determined it
Affleck?
bad.
Hypnotic with Ben Affleck. How's that rate?
5.5.
Okay, so they're middle ones. Okay, I don't know.
You know what the highest rated thing he's done lately is?
Battle
I bet you
Angel.
know. Mandalorian episodes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Mandalorian was decent.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it's
am
fine.
At least the first season.
Yeah, that's sad to see.
looking at this list. I do see where like in the mid 2000s, his career is like extremely infuriating. Where now it's kind of a fun balance, and you get a lot of both of whatever you want. So
Hmm.
So I guess he had a 30-year plan. I don't. Well, he probably didn't have a plan, but if you take 30 years, it's a pretty cool career. But if you take the first 10
Um,
years, it's like someone starts making like great films. He made The Faculty, really? Okay,
yeah.
I like that movie. I just didn't remember he made it.
The thing is that I'm scrolling through his stuff and there's still a lot of like not every other movie, but there's still it seems like he's consistently made fun stuff at least until I didn't see the second Sin City, but
Yeah.
I always forget there was a second Sin City.
yeah,
I
I
don't,
do
I
too.
don't,
That's
I
why I never
don't
watched it.
think it was, but it feels like a straight to DVD thing.
I think if I'm not mistaken, it's one story, whereas the first movie was a bunch of stories. So
Mm.
I think people have generally said it's not great, but it's not it's 6.5. I guess people don't like it that much, but
I'm trying to figure
Yeah,
out
but as
where.
discussed, people can't be trusted.
yeah, I certainly don't. I mean, this
Okay,
shouldn't.
it's
I
about
just
two
don't think it
years
should be
before the
fun.
Weinstein Company became the worst punchline ever. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And Alita
just
Battle Angel was 2019. That's very recent. Not very recent, but it's recent compared
in,
to a lot of
in
the other things
modern
we're
time,
talking about.
because here we go. When you watch this movie now, especially since like 2020, you're like, did the timekeeper do this? I think time might be speeding up now because what year is it
Ah,
anymore, you know?
God.
So
Because
it's
you didn't take time to enjoy the time you had.
well, time just got confusing, didn't it? Time got too confusing,
Yeah.
just like it is in this movie. Um, there are 5 10-star reviews here. The first one doesn't count because it says so bad it's good, which I
I'm
guess they gave it a 10-star so bad it's good. There's another one that doesn't count. I love this piece of absolute garbage. You cannot call your 10-star review that and have it be legit.
no, no.
Um,
I think the last one is the good one.
is this childhood favorite movie? What do you mean by last one?
The
After
last
that, it
one
goes to
listed, the one
9.
that says great.
Oh,
Did
great.
you not see that one?
Oh, there's a different order for me. I was going to
weird.
read the slightly. I was going to read the next one slightly shorter.
Well,
Oh,
okay, go
okay.
ahead.
I just said childhood favorite movie, and I'll try and abridge it a bit, but I really don't get the hate and all these low reviews. I was shocked, and when I was young and growing up, I loved this movie and kept on watching it. And now coming back to it, I saw the low reviews, and I'm so confused. I still love the movie. It's the only movie I watched in the sequel. Maybe I'll watch the rest for now. From what I can remember, this was one of my favorite movies. I could tell many of the reviews are from old people who didn't really understand it and didn't like it. This review was written this year, so I'm trying to like work out their age. Like,
Mm.
were they 4 and now they're 14, or were they 14 and now they're 24? Going by the writing quality, um,
Mm.
I think I'm gonna guess 4 to 14.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna read the great one. Great.
Great.
August 2011. It was great. The 4D rocks. It was funny. It was cool. It was fun. It was pack it. You will like this movie a lot. It was a really great movie to see. It was a good 3D movie. I think you will like it too. It was funny. I think it was a blast. Go see it today before it gets sold out. I really enjoyed it. You will too. It was a silly movie. It was. I enjoyed it so much. I gave it 4.2 of 4 stars. That is how good it was.
He's
Best
only
Spy Kids
10%
move
in if you want to tell
ever.
him to shut up.
There's no there's no punctuation at all.
No, this
Um,
just keeps going. It's you can't even tell where the
He
sentences
just
would
kept
stop.
talking and talking in one long, unbroken
Yeah.
sentence,
No,
moving
Mark
from
was
topic to
literally.
hey,
topic so that no one had a chance to interrupt. It was quite hypnotic.
Yeah.
it's your
Um,
time, man.
he was literally 10% into that too. So yeah.
Mhm.
I don't have the attention span for that.
I don't care. I'm playing Elden Ring.
Did you find no, never mind.
Did you
I
find it?
found
Never
shit. I've
mind.
been wandering around some woods confused this whole time.
I
Mm.
went to
Are you stuck at a door for
I
15
went to
minutes?
the second dungeon first by mistake.
I think I
But
did too. I've done a bunch of stuff out of order.
Shadowkeep,
Yeah, I've done that one.
that thing that comes out when you get to Shadowkeep made me laugh so fucking
So I guess my main just to cap my thoughts on this movie is I will have probably completely forgotten this movie by tomorrow, and then the podcast will come out and like, oh yeah, that existed, and then maybe I'll listen to us talking about it, and then I'll forget about it again. I don't think this one's gonna stick in my mind. Maybe okay, Shark Boy
Mhm.
Lava Girl has a little more stick in your mind, but that's
Yeah. It
I'll
was
remember
that
George Perez's insane villain. That was a better villain. I will give that. Though this
it,
was a more enjoyable view for me.
the writing in this had to have been better. I just don't remember specifically the bad writing from Shark Boy and Lava Girl that was written by a lot of the dialogue was written by an 8-year-old. I guess the thing is the stuff that stuck with me from that movie is more fun than the stuff that probably is going to stick with me from
Yeah, it
this
was kind
movie.
of weird watching this where where the old Spy Kids start having their good old banter, and I'm like, I wasn't really into the band. I can tell this is kind of like supposed to be like a haha, they're doing their old rapport thing. And I'm like, I don't know their rapport. I don't have any nostalgia for the rapport. I know this is a legacy sequel, and it just felt weird to watch. It felt voyeuristic.
I can
Yeah,
kind of see what you mean. Like, also, it was like when the other kids are doing it, they were kids, and here's two adults who do it as well, and it's like,
Because
yeah.
they have to sound like they did in the first three, right? Or
yeah, I
whatever
know.
they
I mean, I get
yeah.
it.
But
Doesn't
yeah,
make
it,
it
it
good.
it did feel weird. But I get where if I you put it in the movie because you're like, oh, a Spy Kid fan will love this. But yeah,
But yeah,
I wonder
they
how
look
many
different.
adult Spy Kids fans are out there. There's got to be a few.
More than zero, yeah.
Yeah, people are just really fucking into Spy
They
Kids.
just
And
had they just had to be. You mean like they were adults when it came out?
no, maybe, but I mean
I
I
think
mean,
there's definitely a generation who it would have landed. They were the correct age and they've grown up. Like
yeah,
I see a lot of memes for
it's like
Spy
how I have
Kids
my
and Shark
weird
Boy,
Saved by
right?
the Bell
So
obsession.
Well, well,
Yeah,
maybe I'm an outlier here, but I am kind of there is stuff from the 80s from my childhood that I loved as a child that I recognize now as not really all that watchable. Like the last time I tried to watch the Transformers animated series, the first one, it was pretty rough to get through a lot of it. Some of it, sure. The movie's still great, but
yeah,
a lot of
that's
it,
how people are supposed to age.
yeah, it's just it's like I still love Bugs Bunny cartoons from the 40s, but there sometimes some stuff is a little bit, or Hanna-Barbera cartoons from the 70s. I never really got into them, but I have some older friends that still love like Captain Caveman or whatever. Scooby-Doo. I've never got Scooby-Doo. It's always the same thing. Kind of like
Oh yeah,
it's always like
like
a man
Gilligan's
takes
Island
his
again. The American
mask
reference
off.
and nobody else gets. Sorry, Luke.
There are good
Well, it's not as
Scooby-Doos, but
it's not as funny
it's for
with
the
one
ones
British
that
guy, Matt.
subvert it, right?
Yeah.
Need some Scrappy Doo.
Yeah. I mean, the James Gunn movies are supposed to be very good. I haven't seen them.
I didn't know they were James Gunn.
I think he just
He
wrote
wrote
them.
both of them.
He didn't direct
Well, I
them.
mean, he wrote both of. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think
I'm just yeah.
I think his writing is kind of his primary asset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally,
I'm just like, can you call it a James Gunn movie if you didn't direct it, you know?
he also wrote the Dawn of the Dead remake, which is again interesting plot for a horror.
But then you're like, oh, that's a Zack Snyder movie, right?
Yeah, but he didn't mess it
Yeah, but
up.
Zack Snyder's okay when he doesn't have to write shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was his first movie. That's when everyone's like, hey, this guy's gonna be awesome, you know?
Yeah, like how people like
Watchmen's
Watchmen.
okay
He
because
didn't write
he
it.
had a
Yeah.
comic book to copy.
Oh no, I got Sucker Punch by Sucker Punch. I was like, well, this sucks.
Have any of
It
us
was
watched
funny.
Rebel Moon yet?
No.
No.
Do
That's
I
gonna
ever
be
plan
some
to watch
filth
Rebel
list.
Moon?
If we get to the end of the list and decide to do a season of the stuff that has been added since,
That's likely
that
there,
might be
yeah.
a bad list.
Is that was what was the Gareth Edwards one that's like the creator, I think, was also supposed to be terrible. Like
Yeah, I
that
remember
girl
seeing
making
trailers
it.
and being pretty up for that. And then it seems to have not been well received.
Yeah, I haven't seen either one. Rebel Moon is at a 5.6. Who knows how much that's being juiced by Snyder Cut Bros.
Yeah.
I guess we'll wrap
And
this guy up for today. So for plugs, this being the
Ooh.
Spy Kids All the Time in the World episode, I'm just gonna say go watch the I'll give the proper title for the it is the Wendy's training video hot drinks. Look that up on YouTube. That's my plug today. What's
I
the other
say-
video we're plugging?
Oh, like
oh
it's
yeah,
called like
Jay.
it's called like the hardest boss in a game ever or something, but it's just James Farley struggling with a door.
You know what? Go watch North by Northwest, which is a better spy movie than this about actual spies. Anyway,
Go watch Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
I got that in
Yeah,
the
But don't,
Blu-ray
because it's actually
apocalypse.
pretty. It is. If you're like, oh, I like this film because it's 80 minutes and it's tight and it's fun, maybe you won't like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
yeah, that was
Then you go
that
for
was
Spy
a
Kids
weird
4. Oh, I call it Spy Kids 4 again.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy was a weird theatrical watch. It was very It was the first movie I saw with a digital projection, so there was like no projector noise, which made that even weirder.
I think it's actually a film I would have preferred to see in a theater,
Yeah.
to force me to pay attention.
I mean that worked, but you know, yep. Anyway, that's not on. It's not going to be on the bad list or the good list. I don't
No.
think.
I think I already made a cut, to be honest.
Hmm.
I don't know. I could leave in the Tinker Talk.
Tinker Talk coming soon. Our new podcast, Tinker Talk.
It's one of those podcasts where you watch the same movie 40 times.
Yeah, but it's actually one of the Tinkerbell straight to DVD movies.
Yeah, I've seen the first one. I saw the Pirate Fairy, and I think I saw one other one.
What was
That
that
makes
like?
sense.
What were they like?
They were like direct-to-video Tinkerbell movies. What do you expect?
I don't think I've ever seen a direct-to-video Disney movie.
I've
Like,
seen
what-
several now.
I think I saw some of the sequels as a kid.
Hold on, let me see how many I've actually seen of these Tinkerbell movies. No, I'm
Tinker
curious.
Tailor Soldier Spy is 7.0, which is
These days, Frozen 2 is a cinema release, but like back in the day, that shit was always straight to video.
Oh no, it's gonna be
yeah, no
everything
matter how big
Tinkerbell.
it was. Because Little Mermaid was probably as big as Frozen, right? At the time.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so confusing. There's a Tinkerbell.
Yeah, Aladdin, Lion
page.
King, they were massive, but the sequels are still straight to video.
One
Yeah.
page is Tinkerbell, and a different page is Tinkerbell Disney character,
Ooh.
Hmm.
which makes sense. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
just-
I'm pretty sure she's pretty far removed from the original at this point.
I like how all the stories from the movie Hook were like Julia Roberts was a complete asshole and everyone hated her, but she was
Huh.
Tinkerbell in that.
Oh yeah.
What,
Well,
was
they
she
made-
even like on set with the other actors much?
I think she was,
Was
but
she
she was
like a
just really
miniature?
difficult. Yeah, I think she was just probably shot in some set off to the side or something, or in a green screen. I'm not really sure.
I have
Hmm.
seen Tinkerbell, Tinkerbell and the Lost Treasure, Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue, Tinkerbell and the Pirate Fairy, but not Tinkerbell and the Secret of the Wings or Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Never Beast.
Well, there you go. And
There we
that's your
go.
cut, Matt.
It's weird as hell hearing you repeat Tinkerbell over and over to the point that doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, because before it was something we all said every day.
Okay, I will
Uh.
stop recording then.